Well, one is that I have to preserve the accomplishments. The drug situation is quite low, and therefore the crime rate, the index crimes, medyo bumaba rin. But what is very noticeable is the reduced number of crimes against persons. As for example, as robbery on the streets, well, sometimes murder, but it has dropped to about 40%. So Manila, which is really the center of our attention, what happens in Manila makes the news all over the country. I think people can. What I promised was, if elected president, I would return the right of the citizens to use the streets, alleys, parks, and all, without fear. And I think I made my mark very clear. There are less drugs on the streets, though they still come in numbers on both sides, from the eastern and western side. The eastern is the Pacific, the western is the ones facing South China Sea. But I intend to keep it low, if not eradicate all. That is one I would like to maintain. Second is the number of graft and corruption. As a matter of fact, before I left, and it's here, I suspended about 64. And that has always been my problem, Pastor. You may have heard me one time venting my frustration before the public. And I said, I regret running for the presidency and winning it, because I cannot cope up with the corruption in government. Sometimes I feel hopeless, helpless. Hindi ko talaga maabutan. And, you know, and even in the cabinet, I have fired about 6 close friends. Well, not necessarily direct graft and corruption, but sometimes incompetence and, the lack of industry is very important, because we work with the people, and sometimes it really takes its toll in the matter of time and health. It's also my same problem. To this day, half of my term, meron pa ako sigurong I think about mga 4,000 appointments to be signed. Would you believe it? Meron pang mga bakanting marami, but I am one, maybe because of my training as a lawyer, that before I sign, I have to read, and it takes time. Just reading the voluminous paper and asking questions about, sometimes the integrity of the person, competence and all. Kaya matagal ang proseso ngayon, unlike before, because maybe, I don't know, but alam mo kasi, it has been the practice of government, and so in private also, maybe, I have not talked in a private institution. Pag may initial na, if there's an initial sign under your name, means somebody has reviewed it and it's okay. If you notice the papers going out of my office, walang mga initial, because it's a bit scribbling something there does not mean anything to me. I have to just really ponder on the papers. sometimes sleep on it and decide after a few hours sleep early morning. But it's sometimes a cabinet meeting would last until 4 o'clock. Then I go home to have my dinner with my security. Almost of them are the girls. I usually invite only the girls to break bread with me before going to sleep. But sila, but I sign some important and urgent matters. That is why I said, it's sleep that I really kulang. Because at 12, I said my day starts at 12. I wake up, take a bath, and now that I'm a little bit lang, hindi naman little older, seem to be losing my appetite. Kaya ako nagpayat eh. And I used to consume 1 cup of half of it will do, and it can carry me until morning time. But this time, I just came from Tagum to distribute the titles of the condominiums that I have built for the NPAs. They are happy that they have houses and that they are learning skills such as and they are responsive to the entities of government to invite more to. And I'm addressing them. I'm not actually interested in killing people, except drugs and outright murderers, kidnappers, especially those who rape children, kill them, or kidnap people and demand ransom, and after that, still go ahead to kill. Yung any right to live any longer. I don't know if the human rights agree. But kung ganon if that is the way how you treat your fellow human being, you kidnap or you rape a family, just for example, in Bulacan, you rape the blind mother, rape the daughter-in-law, rape the 14-year-old granddaughter, and pakialaman mo pa yung 1-year-old, medyo, I think I'll have to disagree with the human rights people. If you are counting only the victims, and that is one, I said, to me, you're just carcass. If you are a criminal to me and I see you just lying down there on the streets, and if I'm sure that you are really a bad guy, just plain carcass to me. But what I grieve really is the social dysfunctions that in the Philippines today. And there are millions of addicts. And if the breadwinner, the father, for example, gets contaminated, the family will collapse. So this will be a socially dysfunctional family. And you have to count the father, who is the victim, maybe a drug pusher, because he has to push to support his when the monkey strikes rides on your back, you have to have it. So he sometimes he kills, he robs. Yan ang buhay na niya. I don't know about the wife. Sometimes he just gamble with this fly-by-night recruitment, and they end up in the slave markets of Africa and the Middle East. And they are abused to no end. Masakit sa akin yan eh. That's why I intend, especially if it concerns my, and even today, there was one ambassador I called because of a Filipina being killed. And I was so overwhelmed with anger. And he understood because I was an ambassador for a long time. Sabi ko, you better handle this. Bagay naman, things were corrected. But those are the things that really affect me. And itong human rights, hanggang kriminal lang sila eh. They're just interested to know na sino itong pinatay if they are really into it also of investigation. But every time they see a cadaver or a dead person there, they will just assume that it is a victim of extrajudicial killing. So, we are not into it. I mean, maybe. Ako mismo. Maybe. But kung sabihin mo na indiscriminate killing of your fellow human being, there has to be a reason. Pero yung mga sa droga, maybe, just maybe, true. Pero yung iba diyang namamatay, just not, don't be a hipster na you just proceed to conclude that it's a victim of human rights. Especially maybe if he has in his pocket a sachet, and they would just simply assume that he was killed by government. We do not do that actually. Pero kung sa malalaki, for example, and I'll be frank, yung sabi nila na big time, maliliit lang, you have failed to appreciate the drive of government. Mayors, Parahino, Espinosa, Mabilog is out of the country. He has not returned, and so with some councilors in the western side. Maraming yung nawala na dahil lumipat na yung pamilya. But if you get the authority from government, from the judge, and take a look at the bank accounts, I cannot believe that you'd be earning 7 billion on money lending only. Yung mga ganon. The guy is dead, but in the course of the investigation, as president, sometimes nakikialam ako, I'd like to see the papers, the dossier, as they say. And yun, naman ko. Kung what's the momentum of the drug agencies task of controlling or stopping. That's one. Second is I'd like to maintain the momentum of graft. Pastor, I will not live forever. But maybe as president, I have this, not everybody given a chance to address to the people. But let me give you two statements that would really be the mantra of the Republic. Two sentences. If we cannot control corruption in government, and if we cannot have law and order, no matter what. And even if you give a guy 20 years to do it, if you cannot stop corruption, and if you cannot control the law and order in this country, mahirap talaga. Corruption ay really, alam nila yan sa gobyerno. Everybody knows now that magkamali ka basta corruption, wala ako. I have a zero tolerance for people. I've been mayor of the city for 23 years. Sa awa ng Diyos, wala namang kayong